Hey everybody, it's Paul, and it is Tuesday, October 25th, 2011. Just 6 days after my bariatric duodenal switch weight loss surgery. I'm going to attempt this video might be just a little bit longer because I'm going to try and pack a lot of information in it, especially to help those people who might be coming up on the surgery, to help them understand what to expect. And to also just kind of give you a rundown of how things have been so far, how the hospital was, and all of that kind of stuff. So, back to my last video, which I took the morning of my surgery. George, one of my maybe 3 to 4 him and Michelle are absolutely my 2 closest and best friends. He came in Tuesday night, a week ago tonight. We had a wonderful dinner at Biaggi's in Peoria. It's an Italian restaurant, and there's one here in Bloomington Normal, and I was actually able to eat a really good, they had some kind of a special minestrone soup that day that was the soup of the day, and they strained it for me, so I actually had a very nice last dinner before surgery. I was able to really eat a full bowl of soup, and it was excellent. And I think George, for the most part, enjoyed his dinner as well. We had a great time catching up with each other and talking about all kinds of things, and so that just went really well. And I was so appreciative of him coming, kind of in the middle of the week, in the middle of all of the stuff that he had to do and all of the pressure that he's under. Just so appreciative of him coming to be with me during the surgery. So, the morning of the surgery, I got there at 9, had to take they took some blood from me pretty much right after I got admitted, and the purpose of that was to type and cross my blood so that they would actually know exactly what blood type I was, so that they would have blood on hand in the operating room should I need a transfusion or should I need some additional blood. So that's the purpose for those of you who are going to go through this. You might be wondering what more could they want? Like why are they testing like two hours before? Well, that's in fact what it's for, which actually reassured me that they were thinking. Of course they would be, but I didn't think of that. So anyway, once all of that was done, I basically was taken to a cubicle, like a small little room that had glass doors on it, and a curtain and everything, and there were a bunch of them. And that's where they basically said, take off all your clothes, take off all your jewelry, put on a gown that they had for me. They had a hat, a surgery hat for me, and then some booties, some stockings, basically like little non-skid paper stockings. So they did that. Then I met with a nurse who asked me at least 2,000 questions, and really the purpose of that was to make sure that they had the right person. They asked me at least 3 or 4 times what I was there for. At one point I think I even said weight loss surgery, and they said, what kind of weight loss surgery? So they actually made me say out duodenal switch. They asked me who my surgeon was several times, so I had to repeat that. They asked me, when was the last time you ate? When was the last time you drank anything? Just every single kind of question you can think of. At that point, they had a different nurse come in, and at that point also I handed over my living will and my healthcare power of attorney, and they took copies of that and scanned it into my records so that it will be there forever, basically. They then sent a nurse in to put my IV in, which, we all know me. If you know me, I'm averse to needles. I'm actually not averse to giving myself even shots, because I have to do that right now twice a day. But it's something with taking blood, and it's from me, and it just doesn't work. So of course I was on the stretcher, which was a good thing. I was laying down, and she's like, the nurse said, we actually even give a topical agent so that it numbs your skin so you don't even actually feel the poke. And I was like, wow, I've never heard of that. But still, I could feel the pressure, and so, of course, I told her, I said, I'm starting to get woozy, and so she said, well, let's lay your head back a little further. She said, deep breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And, of course, the whole time I started sweating, and, but I made it through. I didn't pass out. I made it through, but, man, it's that feeling, for those of you who have been there know that it's very debilitating, and it basically whacks you. I mean, it basically just takes all of your energy away. I didn't really need any energy anyway, though, because I was just going to be laying on the table for a while. So anyway, once that was over, the surgeon came in and met with me, and then maybe a half an hour later, I would say about 11 or 11:30, I was actually wheeled into the operating room. It was a small space. I was, this is just me, but I was in St. Francis Medical Center in Peoria, and so there are crucifixes all over the hospital, and I was astounded and just pleased as punch to see that as soon as I was wheeled into the operating room suite, there was a crucifix in there as well. So I felt very peaceful. I think they asked me again in there who my surgeon was and what I was having done. The operating table is very narrow, very small. They basically crucify you on the operating table, so you've got a thin strip that the bulk of your body sits on, and then they put your arms out on these kind of wings. They did tie me down. They tied my arms down to the arms of the table, and I guess that's just so if you have any nerve impulses or whatever, you're not moving around. I think they probably tied my feet as well. Again, asked me a few questions, but there was a bunch of people working in there. I could hear tools, and they were just getting everything ready. But it seemed like another day at the office for them. I mean, they were talking about, I think 2 guys were talking about golf, and it was just very kind of regular and routine, which also gave me a little bit of peace. They put a mask over me, just held it very closely over my mouth, my nose and my mouth, and they said that there's just going to be some oxygen. I don't know if they were trying to fool me, but I knew what that was. It was one of those clear masks. I knew that they were going to start inducing whatever, the breathable anesthetic, and I could smell it. There was a distinct smell, so I knew I was getting more than oxygen. They didn't ask me to count back from 10 or from 100 like I remember them doing when I had my wisdom teeth out. But I remember that mask was over my face probably about 20 to 25 seconds before I was out. And so I believe it took them about 2.5 hours. I remember they woke me up in a recovery room, which, as I recall, was just a big room that had a whole lot of stations with a whole lot of beds, and there were people in some of the stations. Some of the stations were empty or whatever. They asked me to breathe, to deep breathe. They were obviously trying to get me to come out of the anesthetic. I didn't feel really a whole lot of pain at all. I believe at that point they had transferred me from the operating table to a stretcher, and then that stretcher was what they wheeled me into my room with, and that's the bed that I stayed in while I was there. I was there, so that was Wednesday. I was there. I got to my room probably Wednesday at around 3 o'clock, and then I was discharged at about 2 o'clock on Friday. So just about 48 hours in the hospital. For the most part, while I was in the hospital, the first day, of course, I was really concerned about having to get up because I knew that they were going to want me to walk. They actually waited until about, I would say it was about 2 in the morning. So I got back at about 3 in the afternoon, and then it was like, so it was probably about 12 hours later, somewhere around there. And they asked me during that 12 hours, did I feel like walking yet? And I was like, no, not really. It's not really on the top things that I want to do right now, but I knew that it was coming. And so finally about 2, 3, it actually might have been about 4 in the morning, they said, you don't have to walk tonight, but we really would like you to get up at least, to stand by the bed or whatever. And so I said, no, I think I can do it. I think I've got to do it, So it took 2 nurses, I just said, just let me pull on you, because it's really difficult getting your legs out of the bed, from this position to over here, and at the same time pull your torso up, because, I have basically a little incision port here, and then I have, I think, one about right here, and then about 3 here. So I think 3, 4, 5 or 6, and I really haven't looked at it much, but and they're still covered with a Band-Aid, and they basically just said let it fall off let the Band-Aid fall off as you're taking a shower. Because I think all that's under there is a little bit of glue. I think they fill the ports with like a little bit of whatever, I don't know what you call it, but it's basically skin glue that. So there's no sutures to be taken out, no staples, no nothing, because of course, again, this was laparoscopic.